Well, good morning, Business 20 students. This is week number 4 in our 8-week class in business mathematics here at Norco College. And this week we're going to be looking at two very important chapters and topics. That is that of simple interest, chapter 10, and then compound interest, chapter 11. And quite honestly, these are very simple, but for some reason students really struggle with this. So I highly recommend that you work through the study pages, that you watch the video that I've done on both of these, and then that you, of course, do the quiz. If you do the quiz early, I'll try and get it graded so that way you can go back and see where you made mistakes, and that'll prepare you for what is coming this week, and that is our first exam. It is a midterm exam. This is the halfway point in our class at the end of this week. So it is a midterm exam covering everything that we've covered thus far. And you will have questions on every chapter, fill-in questions, quite a few of them actually. But just keep in mind, many of them come from your quizzes. So if you go through and study all the quizzes and if you get a quiz question wrong, that's a fill-in. I give you the answer. So it shows you how to work it out. So go through all your quizzes as you prepare for this exam. But I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this. Let's take a look at what we should be doing this week and get done by Sunday. So I'm going to enter our class, and if you note, we're here in module number 2. So I'm going to select that because this is the last week for module number 2. And that brings us to what we covered last week, which was markups and markdowns and, of course, payroll and payroll taxes. Some of you struggle with that. I know we had some issues with the documents, and I'm not really sure why. So I will check again this week for chapters 10 and 11 and make sure you're able to access those documents. It was really strange, but I kept re-uploading them and retrying it, and it wouldn't allow you guys or even me to access those documents. So I did email them yesterday afternoon, and hopefully some of you got those. If you're still trying to finish those assignments from last week because you were unable to access those documents, which again, the document was the check-in assignment worksheet as well as the formula sheet. And if you need more time, I'll give it to you because those documents were inaccessible. But I did email them to you. So check the announcements from last night and you should see them there. And I'll double check this week that they're all working. And if not, I'll figure out why. But anyway, that was last week. So this week we move into, again, chapter 10 and chapter 11. Now, chapter 10 is very much like what we've been doing. We've been using that formula. We called it the markup markdown formula, the original price formula. We also talked about the portion formula, the net price formula, all those. It's very much the same thing, but now you're going to be adding a third column, and that third column on the bottom is time. So you're going to have principal times rate times time equals interest. And so those, or interest divided by any two of those other factors will give you the fourth one. And that's what you'll be looking at in these chapters. So I really highly encourage you to watch the videos. I know the quality's not that great. I need to update those. I always update them and they don't really turn out any better, but at one point I'm really going to get good at it. But they do help, and they will give you a clear understanding of how to work through the problems that you'll be facing when it comes to simple interest and helping Sienna solve her interest issues. So again, you have a read me first. Every week you need to click the read me first as done. You need to look at the help Sienna and mark that as done. It's at the bottom of each of those pages. You have 2 study pages, one on chapter 10, one on chapter 11. Chapter 10, again, you're using the circle formula with a new column. That's time. In the compound interest, however, there's 2 ways you can solve it. You can use the tables, and there's actually tables in your book that I recommend you do it that way, and there's steps on how to do that. Or you can use the formula, which the formula is algebraic. So if you don't know how to do algebra that well, you may not want to use the formula. And what I have found is most students who use the formula are always slightly off, or if not off altogether. Very few people get it right with the formulas, but when you use the tables, you always get it right. So I would encourage you to use the tables in solving the compound interest problems. And I go into that in the video. And as you read through the book, you'll see the best way to use the tables. There's steps to take to prepare you to find the data that you need from the problem in order to use the table. But it is a much easier way to find out what your compound interest would be. And we're also going to be covering present value, and that's a little bit different. Compound interest is, I have so much money today, what's it going to be worth in 5 years with using compound interest? Where present value is, I know what I'm going to need in 5 years, And I know that compound interest will get me there, but what do I need to deposit today, presently, in order to have that amount that I need in the future? So the way the two problems work is compound interest is I know what I have today, but I don't know what I'm going to have tomorrow. Where present values, I know what I'm going to need tomorrow, but I don't know what I need today to deposit or to do. So it's kind of looking at the same thing from two different angles, and so there's different tables for you to do that with within the book. There's 11.1 and 11.2, and 11.1 is compound interest, 11.2 is present value. So anyway, there's also some tips for solving word problems. There is a formula sheet. I'll make sure that works. Right now it's working as I hover over it here and you can get it from here as well. In the study pages, let's just take a look right now while I'm here to see if they allow me to access those documents. So let me scroll down here and let's see if it's letting me do it. Actually, those documents are not there. So interesting. Okay. Oh, that's because these are the study pages. Sorry, let me go down to the check-in assignment and see if they allow me to do that. So let me go back. Sorry, it's going so slow today. All right, so here's my check-in assignment 11, 10, and 11. Again, this is the same thing. You're going to be helping Sienna solve some problems. You're going to download the worksheet and the formula sheet, and then you're going to fill it out, complete it, and then go on and actually take this. It's set up as a quiz, so you could take it and then be able to, to use the drop-down menus to put in your answers. But let's see if it allows me to access these documents. And it is. It's letting me access those. So it's working on this computer, but this is a PC. I noticed that on my Mac, it might be a little bit different. In fact, on my Mac, it actually is working on my Mac as well. In fact, what you're looking at is the Mac screen on a PC. But anyway, so it is working. So let me know right away if any of you have any trouble with that, because I definitely want to make sure you're able to get those worksheets easily. But that is the check-in assignment then for week number 4 is chapters 10 and 11. And then you're also going to have a quiz on chapters 10 and 11, and then you do have your midterm exam. And then don't forget, you're still working on your case study number 2, and that's also going to be due this week. And that is, you're basically using the tables for chapter 9 when dealing with payroll. So you're looking at, a guy who was single, and what is his tax deduction going to be? And then now he's married with 2 dependents. So what is his tax deduction going to be? Actually, 4 dependents, counting himself and his wife and 2 kids. So you're going to be figuring out what is this paycheck going to be in this scenario, what is this paycheck going to be in that scenario, and it's all using the tables that are found in the formula sheet of chapters 8 and 9. They're also found in the textbook. Somebody yesterday said they couldn't find them in the textbook, but I found them very easily. So make sure you're utilizing those tables 9-1 and 9-2 to solve that case study. And then just so you know, I do have a quiz and a midterm. And the only reason I do that is I want you to get a chance to work through some problems on 10 and 11 before you're going to see them on the midterm exam. But 2 things that are very positive. Number 1, many of the same questions that are on the exam are in the quiz. So if you get those down first, you'll be ready to answer them in the quiz. And then secondly, you can take the quiz multiple times. So you can do it 3 times and make sure you get the answers correct. All right, so that's it for week number 4 in our 8-week math class. If you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out to me and get a hold of me and let me know that you have questions. You can meet with me during my office hours in Zoom or in person at Norco College. If not, have a great week. Oh, by the way, you find those on the homepage under the office hours icon. And if not, have a great week, and you will all see me on another video for next week's content as we move into module number 3.